It's very green. There's a lot of, plant life. Actually, this really pretty flower that only grows in Chile that's called a capiwe. It kind of looks like a trumpet vine. It's gorgeous. They've got some really cool trees, like there's a tree that's called an araucaria. There's a kind of pine tree, but it like grows in these interesting little, I don't know how to describe them, the branches just kind of curve up, and instead of needles, it's got like these sort of cone-shaped leaves. I don't know, it's really cool. So you see those a lot. It's in like palm trees in certain places. And depending on how close you are, east or west, there's actually two mountain ranges. There's the Andes, what everybody knows about, that separates Chile from Argentina, and then there's a second mountain range right along the coast. And so you kind of always feel like you're in the mountains or between the mountains. And that's really cool. Then there's the beach, and the sand in Chile is black on the beaches because it's volcanic sand. And I went to the beach with this girl from Spain, and she thought it was the most interesting thing in the world that there was black sand on the beaches, because I guess in Spain all the beaches have white sand, but in Chile it's black. And there's some really cool rock formations along the beach. My first sector had this giant rock on the beach that was kind of shaped like this, I guess. It was called Piedra de la Iglesia, or Rock of the Church rock, basically. And it kind of looked like one. It was just this sort of dome-ish shaped building that had like this little tunnel right in the center, this little cave. And it just looked like this giant church sitting out in the ocean. It was really cool. The houses, there's a pretty big variation in what the houses look like. So there's, kind of like stucco mansion-y things like you might see in LA. Maybe not quite that big, but kind of that same feel of like square and like fenced in and just like really smooth walls and stuff, and white, and pool in the backyard or front yard or wherever. Then there are, kind of just like brick houses or wood houses, and get everything down to apartment complexes that look like they should be condemned, and they have bare concrete for the floor, and the piping is all exposed, the wires are exposed in places, and there are even people who live in what they called mediaguas, which is like kind of like a temporary shack while the government was rebuilding their homes because of the earthquake, which is basically 4 walls, rough wood, and maybe you might have a couple walls like set up with like sheets or something, or people would like harvest wood from their house after it fell before the government came and cleared it all, and they would use that to set up like an extra closet or extra bedroom in the Mediagua. And those would almost always have dirt floors and no heating or air conditioning or anything. They just basically living in squalor, and because that was all they had. And but at the same time, it was, they lived with it. And that's another cool thing about the Chileans, is that they're very good at making do with what they have. They're very creative, industrious people who, if they don't have something, they'll either find a way to live without it or find something else to make do and use for that thing. They always, a lot of time in the summer or during holidays, people will go to like town squares and set up little booths and just sell things they've made. So they'll go to the town square and they'll set up these little booths and sell like jewelry, or they'll knit clothes. Actually, you wouldn't believe it because it almost looks like it was like store made, but I actually got this at a feria in Chile. So they sell clothes that they've knitted or crocheted. Other little things, like they make these hair decorations that are kind of they kind of look like friendship bracelets, and they've got like beads on them, so like that kind of knotted roping thing, and they'll just braid it into their hair. And it's just really cool. They just call them chances. And people will just sell them. Or the people who will carve wooden spoons and things and sell those on the street. And so they'll just, they make a living a lot of different ways, just whatever they can do to survive. And, it also ties back into that whole thing of if you don't have it, you find a way to either live without it or make something else do. And the Chileans are really good at like that, and I was always impressed by that.